Hey folks, it's Kristele again, and welcome back to What's Cookin'.
Join us as we make for the first time homemade beef bourguignon or red wine beef stew following a recipe from the French Cooking Academy. First, a sip from the Pinot Noir we used. For the stew, we prepared cubed beef, diced carrots and onions, beef stock, wine, and ingredients for our bouquet garni. To make our bouquet garni, we mixed parsley, thyme, and bay leaves into a tea bag. For our garnish, we prepared peeled potatoes, sliced mushrooms, sliced bacon, peeled shallots, and garlic. On medium heat in a good amount of oil, we browned our cubes of meats, turning them over when they get to a nice light brown color. We set the meat aside, then poured in our diced onions and carrots to let them sweat for about 5 minutes. We then added the meat back in, gave it all a good stir, then coated the mixture with flour. Next, to toast the flour a little, we put our pot in the oven without a lid. After about 5 minutes, we placed the pot back on the stove, gave the mixture another good stir, then poured in the beef stock and wine. In this mixture, we added our garlic cloves, the bouquet garni, and salt and pepper seasoned to taste. Then, we covered the pot with a lid and placed it back into the oven for about 2.5 hours, stirring occasionally in about half-hour intervals to make sure the sauce doesn't get too thick. Next up, the garnish. We started making our mashed potatoes by boiling and mashing potatoes with some milk and butter. Here, we also checked on our stew and gave it a good stir. In another pot, we caramelized the shallots in water that is enough to cover them. We also added in some butter and about 20 grams of sugar. We let this mixture cook in medium-low heat until the water has evaporated. Once again, we checked on our stew and after a good stir, back in the oven it went. Next up, we pan-fried the bacon until it's nice and crispy. In the same pan, we pan-fried our mushrooms until golden. Now that our garnishes were ready, we checked our stew another 3 more times before we decided the sauce had the right consistency. All that's left to do is plate up this delicious meal and eat it. And there you have it, our first try at making beef bourguignon at home.
It's time for me to dig in. See you next time!